You're listening to MinerTalk on demand exclusively on 600 ESPN El Paso. Stay up to date with MinerTalk by downloading the free 600 ESPN El Paso mobile app.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Team 600 ESPN El Paso. It's time for MinerTalk with Adrian Broadus, Sal Montes, and Zay Galindo. MinerTalk is presented by the Oscar Arrieta Agency, Classic Elegance Coaches, the District Pub and Kitchen, Wind Supply El Paso, and New Start Homes. Call into the show at 915-505-609 or interact with the show at 600 ESPN El Paso on social media. Here's your host, Adrian Broadus.
All right, it is the first UTEP basketball MinerTalk of the season. Welcome in. I'm Adrian Broadus. He's Sal Montes. Zay Galindo on his way. He's going to be joining as well, even though it's a school night, even though I tried to ban him from being here. We are presented by the Oscar Arrieta Agency. They are the presenters of the Hometown Hero Award after every UTEP men's basketball game, or during every men's basketball game, I should say. And, of course, you've seen them for all the football games as well. Check them out online, riseup915.com or OscarArrietaAgency.com for more information on the Oscar Arrieta Agency, including their information about your home, auto, life, or even business commercial insurance needs. That's the Oscar Arrieta Agency to get started here today for MinerTalk. Well, we're going to open up the phone lines early. UTEP beats McMurry 120-71. I've got thoughts, not overreacting whatsoever on any cylinder, but there are takeaways today. And then, of course, the women's basketball team defeat Western New Mexico 75-58. Zay will give us his thoughts on that one later on. He was at the game and got a chance to watch this one as well. So, I got a chance to be out there first night out at the Don Haskins Center. I was fired up. I'm happy to be back talking UTEP hoops. And definitely happy to do it with you here on the show today. Our telephone number, 915-505-6009. Tonight might be a shorter show. Tonight we might be, a little bit more abbreviated as far as our coverage here on MinerTalk today. Understandably so. We will go extended for next Monday. That's the big UC Santa Barbara game between the Miners and, UC Santa Barbara, who's coming into town. They're a team who's highly regarded out of the mid-major ranks, and that is going to be a first season test for the Miners going into their non-conference play, which actually I think is a lot better than some of the haters would say on the other side of things. Hey, Conference USA was in full action today. We'll also talk about the rest of the conference right now. We'll preview the league on the men's side of things. We'll talk a little women's hoops, and of course, we'll take your calls. We'll take your thoughts after this one. By the way, Sal, as we welcome you onto the program, I just wanted to let everybody know we were supposed to be live out at the District West 3233 North Mesa. They still have Monday specials going on right now, by the way. $8 nachos, whether you get chicken, whether you get steak, smother it with cheese. The nachos are fantastic out there at the District, and they've got a Monday night special going on right now. They're open till 2 in the morning. They are still active and happy to take your table, but unfortunately we had some issues out there, so we'll be out there for the next MinerTalk edition on the men's basketball side of things. Just weren't able to be out there tonight, but we'll be out there for actually some live post-game MinerTalk. So if you want to make plans next time around, hey, instead of going off to your traditional fast food stop after the UTEP basketball game, how about join us for a burger? Join us for some tacos. Join us for some wings and some drinks out at the District West. That's 3233 North Mesa for the next MinerTalk edition. But Sal, as we welcome you on to the show, talk about the worst bad history beat out there. The most points, how about this? The most points UTEP has ever scored was 121, which was in 2000. Tonight they scored 120, just 1 point shy, shy of breaking the record in their 120-71 win over McMurry. Does this matter at all? Does this matter at all to you?
Only if you're superstitious and you have to get the number 121 to be successful in life, or if you want to avoid the exact number of 120. Other than that, it holds no bearing whatsoever.
So you're not a fan. You don't care. Did this was this brought up? I didn't hear any of the post game. Was this brought up at all.
Yeah, they were tracking it. I can't remember at what point, to my understanding, probably somewhere around the 3-minute mark is either when they took note of it or they had already made a slight mention of it, and that's when they started that tracker, so to speak. So yeah, they were on it, and with each point or each bucket that was made, the guys would calculate it. I think they started doing it around the 110, 113 mark or so, and then there was a 3 that was hit either after a 2 or before the 2, and yeah, they were all in on it. And even Yella was like, "Oh, they have a chance right here." It's like, dude, they're gonna pound the rock until the clock's out. But if you wanted something to look forward to, I guess once you found out about the record, you could kind of hope that it would be broken. But there's no harm in not hitting it.
No, not at all. I'm with you on that completely, Sal. It's just kind of fun. It's one of those fun stats,
That
especially
makes something, yeah.
Yeah, when you're blowing out a team in a game that means nothing. It's something to look at, and hey, maybe you sniff some history right there, and that's exciting in itself. Let's get it started. I'll go player by player later on. I'll kind of give you my thoughts of watching these guys. I'll give you my favorite players from tonight, my guys maybe I think that need more time, and of course, all of this is just based off one game against a Division III university. McMurry is no one that we should be writing home about, but at the same time, first time we get a chance to watch this men's basketball team, first time they're lacing them up, first time it's uniforms, and hey, I've heard behind the scenes, haven't had a chance to practice as much out at the Don Haskins Center as they typically do. It's one of those things just because of all the schedule with the Don Haskins Center that is one of those issues. Zay Galindo's in the studio right now, by the way. He's trying to find some headphones. Zay, in Kiss FM, there's a basket. I think there's an adapter in there. We have so many headphone issues in the studio right now. Talk about the technical difficulties at the district. We're feeling the Monday, Sal. What's going on?
You know what? To kind of keep it on the same topic, but straight away, it's not so much a technical difficulty issue.
You're right.
As it is just an ethical and moral issue.
You're right, because
Stop
these
taking our
headphones
stuff,
are
man.
stolen from us.
Come on.
You know what? We just need to get our own headphones, Sal. That's
We need a
that's
lock
the
on
moral.
the door.
Yeah, that's the moral of the story. That's for sure. Hey, let's just go to social media. Let's start it off. It's Joe Chacon, of course. That's a winner, 1 point shy of tying the all-time high score. Second most points scored in UTEP history. At UTEP men's basketball, #MinerTalk. This is coming in from Joe Chacon as well. Derek Hamilton is looking good. Teams are going to try to get him in foul trouble. Powell is a great point guard. We've missed that the last 2 years. Jones is going to be a scorer. That's coming in from Joe Chacon today. His assessment of UTEP men's basketball. By the way, he says, I love these new additions. #MinerTalk. #need to work on the transition. #always could get better. #foul trouble late an issue. Oh my gosh. Come on, man. No, it's not. It's not an issue. #ball movement on point. #feed me more. My view rocks. Okay, good stuff for you, Joe Chacon. Let's go to the official DJ of UTEP Athletics. He is Jason Craig. Jason, welcome aboard. Thanks so much for joining us here on MinerTalk edition out here in our studios instead of the district. So I apologize if you tried to join us out at the district. What'd you think? You got a chance to watch UTEP play tonight, both the men and the women's basketball play in the doubleheader. You tell me your first reactions of these teams.
So the women, what else should we say? They always do pretty good, and they did well. They played very well today, so that was a good W to watch. But, of course, we were very focused in trying to see what the men's basketball team was going to be like. Wow. Now, like you said, not a team to really write home about with McMurray, but they really the Miners played with so much aggression today. It looked really good out there. They're kind of showing off a little bit, but it was great for a W, and it was a good time, and they played great. Ball movement, did better in free throws. That was important,
I thought so too, man. Do you remember anybody who stood out to you players-wise? Like, that's who I want to hear from you. Like, I want to hear names who jumped off the page for you, even if it's returners, people that we saw from last year, either on the men's side or the women's side.
Honestly, I was really impressed with Hamilton. He looked really great.
Okay.
He looked a lot better than last year. I loved seeing him.
Okay, be real with me, Jason. Does he look physically better? In your opinion, tell our listeners.
Yeah.
Tell our listeners.
He does. He was like last year. He was kind of sluggish. Still kind of little. You know what I mean? He was a little soft. You know what I mean? Around the. He's just a big guy. But no, he looked great. He looked really good, and he was mobile, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, man. For the whole season, if UTEP's win total is set at 17 wins, do you think they go over that, under that? Where do you kind of feel right now? I mean, obviously, this is just game one. I'm asking you this question more as like a season outlook or a season prediction from you. Do you like that 17? Do you want to go over it or just right there at that number?
17 would be great. It would be great. I can't say it now. I would have to wait till Thursday to really.
Oh, you need to see how they perform against Science and Arts. I got you. Okay, good stuff.
I got to see them play two games. I need 2 games just to see if they going to keep the same aggression. What's going to happen in game 2. First game, of course, you're going to play you're going to play with your heart. But let's see what happens in game 2,
Okay, I got you, man. Hey, I appreciate it, Jason, as always, man. We'll talk to you soon. I appreciate you weighing in.
All right, guys. Have a good show.
Thanks, Jason. That's Jason Craig, our very own, joining us here on the hotline as we continue. Our telephone number, 915-505-6009. That's our telephone number to get into the program. 600 ESPN El Paso on social media. Zay, there were 8 players in double figures scoring. Elijah Jones led the way, 8 for 8 on the floor for Elijah Jones. Give me your initial takeaways for UTEP men's basketball. They're getting underway tonight. They had a big victory against McMurry. What do you take away from this one?
Yeah, there's not a lot to take away. Obviously, it's a Division III program, but I like the way they adjusted. They kind of got, I'm not gonna say they got hit in the head early. McMurry, they were running, gunning, they were taking transition threes. UTEP's transition defense was it wasn't great today, so that's a bit of a concern. But I think they responded well and adjusted in the second half really nicely. And, offensively, they just looked great. They looked great. Obviously, like I said, Division III program, not something you're going to take away from too much. But I honestly did think they shot the ball really well. They were efficient. And, yeah.
I wouldn't use, the word concerning for anything tonight, but I would say this, as far as the defense goes, or anything that you might want to point the finger at for concern, I just want to see how they are in their front court defense as they move forward in the season, and then the perimeter, like how are guys like Zid Powell going to move along defensively? Those are just things I want to look out for. Nothing that concerns me, but some stuff that I'm definitely keeping an eye out for as we continue on the season. Jonathan Byers sends us this. We'll see. I think it's a bad practice to evaluate big men when they're playing against smaller competition, unless those smaller opponents tend to dominate them. I like Powell, too. Jonathan Byers said this. I'm pessimistic on, I think he was talking about, I don't know who he's talking about, but he's saying, I'm pessimistic about him and his potential. Oh, this is Derek Hamilton. I'm just not a fan of, he says chubby 6'9", 6'10" guys. Man, Jonathan Byers, by the way, he was coming off the top rope today saying he's not a fan of this player, is a fan of this guy, and making some large reactions after day one, Sal. Sal, give me some advice that we should give off to Jonathan Byers, knowing that he likes to react quickly to teams, and he likes to make his assessments right away based on one single game.
It's not so much that it's one single game. It's one single game against a Division III opponent. I don't know what else you could say about this as far as what can help them this year. If we can be literal, I guess the only thing that you can get out of this game that's going to be helpful for the year is you got out of this game healthy and you were able to get some run. That's literally all that you could take away from it. Guys looked a bit fluid at times. I get it, but you're supposed to do those kinds of things. However, to kind of make assessments off of players and say whether you're a fan or not after only one game, especially against a Division III team, that's extremely premature. If anything, I guess guys who have been here before, you have a little bit more say in that because you've seen them in a minor uniform. But
right.
Nonetheless, though, it's in a way, it's kind of a new team with so many new additions, and the chemistry is a lot different than last year. You can't compare this team to last year at all. You got to let it play out in front of your eyes. One game, that's too soon.
Way too soon. Hey, our telephone number, 915-505-6009-600 ESPN El Paso on social media. Here are my thoughts on this game, okay? Number one, I believe UTEP looks far more athletic than they did previously. I feel like UTEP has shown that when they have athleticism, they're kind of fun to watch. Like whether they play in transition, they're flying over the court, they're making these flashy dunks, they're making these nice passes. And I know to some fans that could be annoying, especially when it's turnovers and stuff like that. Fans roll their eyes, they get frustrated with things like that. But to those fans, I would just say this is their first game, Division III opponent. Let them play. Let everybody go out there. This is also the Don Haskins Center, in which they haven't played a lot, and that might sound a little weird to some people, but it's just true. They haven't practiced as you often should out at the Haskins Center. So I do want these guys to get as many minutes as they can. Tay Hardy getting almost 30 tonight, I'm good with that because I want to see him just feel comfortable at the Haskins Center and play at his best when he's at his home court. I feel like that's really important for this team. And for, fans who are kind of shrugging off or kind of rolling their eyes at the flashy plays and all of that, I just say this, look, this is more about fun on the first day. And the second day, too, when you're playing the science and arts. I'm not going to say the university right, guys. I'm going to say it wrong every single time. The Science and Arts University or the Arts and Science Institute of Basketball or whatever. So, that's the Thursday game. But either way, that's how I take this game. A lot of athleticism that I saw from UTEP, more athletic than last year, and they are deeper. I don't know how much quality depth they'll have a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, but at least to start things off, positive. I think it's at least better. A lot of people wanted to bury this team in the offseason thinking, man, this team's recruiting is down. What are they doing? All this kind of stuff. And we were even subject to wondering, well, they don't have a big. They didn't recruit a big. I think at least for now, those early alarms are gone. Maybe they linger down the road. What do you guys say?
I don't know if they're gone or so, because we haven't seen it really play out with the additions. Guys look good,
sure,
you know what I mean, but it's a very small sample size against a very microscopic portion of and this is no disrespect at all, but let's be real, microscopic portion of talent, things like that compared to what they're going to be facing off against in a couple of weeks, and let alone some of the what could be upper echelon teams of Conference USA.
What do you think, Zay?
Yeah, there definitely are going to be concerns throughout this one. They're going to linger. It's going to be up to Kevin Kalu to really, take that step up. And, obviously it wasn't a great game from him. He was kind of just there. But he definitely has had his moments, which gives you hope. And just going back to what you said about, the flashy passes, the alley-oops, Joe Golding talked about that post-game. He said they want to play in transition. They want to get those big momentum plays to get the crowd into it. They want to have a home court advantage. And, to get the big reactions, you're going to have to do cool things like behind-the-back passes, crazy dunks. So he said, they didn't clean them up. But he really enjoys his team doing stuff like that. So
good. Hey, you know what? I like that this team has a personality, too. That's another thing. I feel like when I watch this, just zero in. This is what I would challenge you. If you're going to Thursday's game or you're going to watch on ESPN Plus, whatever, just zero in on some guys. For example, Zid Powell. He won't let anybody touch him. Like, a defender just wants to put his hands on him. He grabs his hand and puts it away. And he kind of puts his forearm on players at all times. So when he's playing on defense, he's touching the guy the entire time. He's playing these little mind games that, I just kind of think back when you play pickup ball, or you just think back to your days of 10 years old all the way to your preteens or whatever, or even your teenage years. When you're playing pickup ball against guys who are older than you, guys who are better than you, how are you going to stand out as a player? Well, Zid Powell's an alpha male. He's just kind of that guy, and he showed it in just spurts. He can effortlessly be that guy for them. So he has some ferocious dunks. He had some nice passes. He's a better passer than I thought or expected going into the season, and he's got some game to him. I'm really looking forward to him. I think defensively that's going to be where they're going to need to work with him, but I believe in him being the best player on this team. That's at least my thought. It didn't have to take this game. That was my thought going into the season when it came to Zid Powell. But tonight you just get to see the little things that he has. He just has a lot of things in his bag, and I like what he could do.
Yeah, kind of like that enforcer type of role. That
correct.
What's the word I'm thinking of? It reminds me of when Steven Adams was with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The not the enforcer. I'm trying to think.
Maybe
of
like not an
kind
instigator. Kind of like an instigator.
Similar to that. You know what I mean? Playing those little mind games, and although it's only one game, when you see something like that and you haven't seen it in a while, something that fans have asked for, hey, they need that guy who's going to say, this is my team, without actually saying it. You go out there and you do things. I mean, if he could keep that up, I really like what it means going forward, because that attitude is contagious, and we'll see who else he could spread out to.
Yeah, and you pair that with a guy like Calvin Solomon, he's also kind of that instigator role. He's on the court, he's doing these little, mimicking plays, and you do that. Those two with guys like Otis Frazier and Tay Hardy, who are more quiet, kind of passive on the court. They're just going to play through, and it kind of just works together so well. You have that good mix of, hey, we're that guy, we're the big guys on this team, and then you also have the guys who are kind of just there playing, having fun, and kind of not as instigating as the other two.
Yeah, I feel like that's the multiple personalities. Like, kind of what I was saying is this team does have personalities on this group. Like you said, maybe Frazier's a little bit softer spoken, but when you look at somebody like Tay Hardy, yeah, he also leads by example. Elijah Jones, he was throwing some dunks down today, and he was being pretty flashy. Jonathan Dos Anjos, don't think he's not going to talk some smack. He likes to say things on the court, and and he likes to back it up as well. Jonathan Dos Anjos has a shot, and I think what Miner fans missed out on him being out last year with injuries. Remember, he goes out first 30 seconds of his play against Texas in Game 1, doesn't come back till middle of the season or Conference USA stretch, and then once he comes back into the fold, he also has to deal with injuries, then gets shut down for the rest of the season. That was tough for him, but he actually single-handedly won them that UTSA game on the road last year, so I have higher expectation on Jonathan Dos Anjos going into this year. 12 points tonight, made a pair of 3-pointers, 5 of 6 from the floor, 6 boards. I like him also cleaning things up down low, Zay, and he could be somebody who, and they've never really had front court depth. They never had these guys they could rely on, being kind of backups or helping spell off Calvin Solomon or whoever it might be down low, even Kevin Cowley, whatever it might be.
Yeah, now you have two basically stretch forwards. Elijah Jones, I think he's a little more athletic than Jonathan Dos Anjos. He has a good shot, but then Jonathan Dos Anjos, he's just a pure player. You look at him shooting the ball, it just looks so good coming out of his hands, and he looked a little more aggressive today. I think defensively, whether it's getting dirty in the rebound game, I think he just looked more. He looked healthy. I think last year at times he could have been a little passive, a little timid at times, kind of, trying to protect himself. Now he looks fully healthy. He looks more aggressive, and I'm also really excited to see him, through a full season, hopefully, if he can stay healthy, what he brings to this basketball team.
So, of course, I'm going to zero in on all the newcomers because it's the first time I see him play against other competition with a UTEP uniform. And aside from just Zid Powell, Corey Camper Jr. deserves a lot of praise as well because he's a fun player to watch. He's got tremendous athleticism. He's fast. Maybe the most speedy player on this team. Didn't get to see his shooting prowess. They talked a lot about his shooting, what he's going to bring to the team in that category, but he was aggressive defensively, and I think that's what you're going to see from Corey Camper Jr. I'm not closing the door one bit on his shooting this season. I think he could be that guy. Could he be Jarrell Satterfield? Probably not, but could he be somebody that they rely on as a backcourt guard and who steps in the mix and plays better defense than Jarrell Satterfield? Maybe that's the case. I left today feeling the best and most pleasantly surprised by David Terrell Jr. the freshman. I'm just, you know what? When I was watching him today, I thought to myself, wait a second, this guy's going to play real minutes. Like, he's going to force the coaching. He's going to be that kind of player to kind of force the coaching staff to play him. And if you don't remember who David Terrell is, he's number 5. He's kind of that slender guy. He's a true freshman, by the way, which is really cool to see a true freshman play right away. And he was he played almost immediately. He was like second or third unit or rotation off the bench for the Miners tonight. The Mansfield Summit high school graduate is a true freshman at 6'4". Doesn't have like the muscle yet, but once he gets that, he's going to have a lot of different abilities because he can score by drawing contact and going to the hoop. He can pull up and hit some shots as well. And then outside of all of that, he just kind of does the dirty work. He's like the spark energy plug and does all the dirty work in the backcourt, whether he's diving for loose balls or jumping up on defense and stealing balls and taking passes away from defenders and stuff like that. That's what I left today most impressed by, David Terrell Jr. And who knows, maybe he's out of the rotation once conference play starts. Maybe he he struggles to find his own during conference, the non-conference stretch, and he doesn't warrant minutes himself. But at least right now, I like the upside for David Terrell Jr., and he might not even need to average a lot of points. I think he could just be somebody who gives the Miners quality depth off the bench and provides a spark plug for this team.
Yeah, the biggest concern with him, I guess, if you want to say there was a concern, is what is he going to bring for you on the offensive end of the ball? Because, Joe Golding, he raved about him defensively because you could see it. He's a natural defender. He kind of has that natural ability to just lock onto a guy. He's a great on-ball perimeter defender. What was he going to bring for you offensively? Can he shoot the ball? Can he shoot threes? Can he get to the rim? And we saw today he got to the rim with ease. And will that change when you're playing against guys your size, your height?
Yes.
That probably will change. But hopefully he can adapt to that and stay in this rotation. We haven't seen an actual true freshman under Joe Golding have consistent minutes. First guy off the bench. If UTEP can get that out of David Terrell, that'd be phenomenal.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this, because I'm not sure of this question. Who's the last true freshman that the Miners gave legit minutes to, maybe even for the entire season? I think, if my memory serves me, and this is also extremely rare knowing that we live in a transfer portal era where players typically do not get a chance to play if they're true freshmen. They usually redshirt, they usually are JUCO teams, or whatever it might be. I think the last true freshman to get like extended minutes of play throughout the season is Deion Stroud back in 2019-2020. Freshman for the Miners that year, played 21 minutes as a true freshman for the Miners that season. I think that's the last guy to play like rotational minutes as a true freshman. But even him, they didn't like throw him out there completely. He would just come in spurts. Like if it was a big game, forget it. Deion Stroud was maybe getting 6 minutes at most off the bench. It wasn't a lot. Sal, can you think of another true freshman? I can't.
What? It's really hard. I mean, what would classify as true minutes? Like more than 15 per game?
Yeah, like Deion Stroud was like, he averaged 15 minutes exactly off the bench that year.
That might actually be the number. It's hard to look elsewhere. I'm trying to think. But this precedes him, though. I was going to ask if Jordan Lathan was a freshman when he came over to UTEP.
Ooh, that's a great one. But, yes, it was before Deion Stroud, but that is a great one. I think as a true freshman, both Nigel Hawkins and Jordan Lathan played, and both of them averaged over 20 minutes a game that season. That was 2018-2019, Sal. And that season, the Miners were 8-21, so really bad that year. Maybe that tells you a little bit. Also, FEODG played that season. How about that? The trio of freshmen,
That's right. He was all conference as a freshman or something like that.
What could have been, huh, Zay?
What could have been.
Hey, let's keep it moving. Let's go on the phone lines right now. Let's open it up. Our telephone number, 915-505-6009 to get into the program. First up is Mike in Austin. Mike, good evening, man. Thanks for weighing in on the show. How's it going?
Hey, gentlemen. A long time no talk.
Long time no talk, Mike. Welcome to basketball season. How you doing?
Oh, I was looking forward to this. So a couple of things. Just a couple of takes, maybe not even hot takes, but just my takes.
Go for it.
The first thing is regardless of the schedule or not schedule, the scoring, scoring for, McMurray or us, if this had been last year and we had scored, or even if it's this year, and we had scored 85 on this team and they only scored 30, there would still be the haters saying, well, this is a Division III team, blah, blah, blah. 120 points is 120 points. And yes, they weren't to the caliber that we're going to be seeing all season long, but that's nothing to sneeze at also. I'm trying to be realistic in that, yes, I understand it was a Division III team, but also understand that the haters are going to hate no matter what the score was or whatever we allowed the other team to score. So, but 120 points is nothing to sneeze at. The second thing, which is actually the most important thing, that was the number one takeaway for me watching the game, was how comfortable this team seemed to be playing together, which is something that you don't see early on in the season, and that we haven't seen early on in the season, for quite some time. We've seen a lot of individuals, try to rise up and make their name and show the coaching staff what they bring to the table so they can get more minutes and they can be the starters going into the season. There was a lot of passing and a lot of comfort on this team. You can see that there's that comfortability, I think, is going to pay dividends down the road.
That's a really good point, because think about it. I mean, I'm not trying to throw Mario McKinney Jr. under the bus last year, but I felt like they were relying on him to maybe be that selfless guard, to be a playmaker off the bench for the Miners and really give them depth that they didn't have in years past. And they didn't have Mario McKinney for the second part of last season, and let's just be honest, the majority of last season. So I like the passing. I like that they were selfless. It felt like the first half, they all had a goal to each have 10 points on the board. At least everybody gets a bucket first. And then the second half, they were all just playing different games with each other. It was like Elijah Jones just going off. It was David Terrell doing his own thing. It was Tay Hardy hitting some three-pointers, and then having some passes behind the back that look really flashy and nice. So we saw a little bit of everything. It was a mixed bag, and you're right, the ball movement was there. Maybe we'll see the ball movement continue on Thursday and then translate to a big one coming up here on Monday.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. Was, everything else aside, that to see that even just in game one, where it would have been easy for a bunch of our players to try to be individuals and just trying to build up their stat line in order to get a more playing time down the road or more playing minutes. This team looked like they were playing like a team, from the start. So that's very encouraging going further.
I agree with you, Mike. Hey, I appreciate the phone call, man. Thanks for weighing in. I think the one example, Sal, that I can pull up from this game in terms of the selflessness, Zid Powell only having 9 points, only having 5 shots tonight, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and he comes in to this team with the most accolades, I guess, kind of the most recognition, the most notoriety, played in a better conference last year in the MAC. And yeah, for those old-timer UTEP fans who think the MAC is a bad conference, well, look at Conference USA, man. It's not on the level of the MAC right now, and that's just a reality, despite whatever you might think. Nonetheless, I digress and just say, Zid Powell, he didn't need to get double digits in scoring. Who's he trying to impress? He knows he is confident in his own abilities as a playmaker and as a guard on this team. He knows he's the starting point guard. He knows he's the guy. He doesn't have to prove to anybody by putting up these ridiculous shots up and stuff like that. So great point that Mike brought up there.
I think there's a couple things I want to bring up, but on Powell, I think the only thing he wants to prove something to, so to speak, I think would be whoever he's going up against, not the fans. He knows who he is. Coaches know who he is. He wants to let whoever is guarding him or whoever he's going to guard know that he's going to win the matchup. I know we talked about the team aspect, but as the leader of the team as well, you got to lead by example, and if you can own your matchup, that's going to spread out throughout the team, in my opinion. But another thing too is, I had to kind of shake my head when you mentioned dropping 120 is nothing to sneeze at. I get it. Congratulations on the good offense. But looking at the scoreboard today, Adrian, and I'll leave out the Division I teams, because if you could do that against a Division I opponent, all hats off to you. However, just looking at the scoreboard here, and so many teams dropped 100 tonight. Arizona's one of them. It was a Division I opponent, nonetheless. But just going down the scoreboard, St. Mary's, who's ranked 23rd, they dropped 107 on, I don't even know how to pronounce this. It's Stanislaus State. Have any of you heard of them?
No.
I rest my case. Hofstra against St. Joseph's Long Island. It cuts off. That's how long the school name is. 101-48. Hofstra wins that one. Stephen F. Austin drops 96 against North American. Pennsylvania, yes or no if you've heard of this college? John Jay College.
No.
Okay, 102-57 going forward.
Didn't Zerkonyema graduate from high school from John Jay College? No? John Jay High School.
Tennessee Martin, 104-76. One more out of very many that remain. UNC Wilmington over Mount Olive, 105-66. So I get it. You put up points, but I just don't buy that. You're supposed to win a game like this, whether it be 80-30, as he said, or 120-71. You got to do what you did tonight, but it's hard to take away, some great things from a 120-point performance from a team against a team that you were supposed to obliterate in the first place.
Yeah, and I hate to be the party pooper, but McMurry last year, they gave up over 90 points per game. So, this is on par with what they do.
I'll just say this. Last time UTEP, first off, UTEP has never scored 100 points in the Joe Golding era. Last time UTEP scored 100 points, Friday, January 8th, a win at home against Rice, 101-89 the next day, or 2 days. No, actually the next day. They lose to that same Rice team, and Rice and head coach Rodney Terry, along with that squad, including Bryson Williams, Sule Boom, FEODG, getting a little skirmish in the tunnel. Christian Agnew on that team, Jabal Bienemy, Keontae Kennedy, Titus Verhoeven, Christian Scholin, Vuk Vulichik, Adam Hess. Man, what a team. Hey, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. We'll be back in less than 10 minutes. Then we got Drew coming up next right here on MinerTalk and 600 ESPN El Paso.
Streaming worldwide through the 600 ESPN El Paso mobile app. 600 ESPN El Paso is KROD El Paso, a Town Square media station.
Let's go back to the phones right now, 915-505-6009. Drew is up next. Drew, good evening. What's happening?
Hey, how you doing? No, just a couple things I wanted to add to. First off, I understand what you guys are saying. It is McMurry State. You're right with everything you're saying, but I'm a big believer, and you get something out of every game you play, right? With that being said, I think just the hustle, right? We saw a lot of hustle from these guys, a lot of coaching that they're going to see from Golding. I know they've seen it probably since the summer, but him just encouraging. I remember at one ball, I think it was Dosandra that went to the sideline, dove for a ball or went for a ball, hustled for a ball, and Coach Golding encouraged the team to, hype them up and, clap for them. I think that's big, going forward. Hey, that's who Golding is, making sure his players are, being bigger than, the team itself, and being an actual team, so I think that's very encouraging that I saw today on that part. Also to add just a couple notes from what I took from watching the game, I do believe, Powell's a great player. I think he's a good point guard. I think every team needs that, veteran, grad transfer point guard to come in and really, assist to turnover ratio that we all like to see. I think he's going to be that guy for us. Really like David Terrell. I think that kid can play. Big thing that I saw from him, just my opinion is that he doesn't look like a freshman.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He looks like a veteran out there. I'm very impressed.
Right, and physically, he doesn't look like one. But not only that, his game, it looks like he's aggressive, but he's not shy. It's kind of hard to say it, but the way he goes up to the rim and stuff, it looks like, hey, I've been here before, and that's maybe because his dad is NFL player, gave him that confidence, and so that confidence. Plus, he played at Manfield Summit, which is a good school. And then also just looking at Big Derek out there. He does look a little bit slimmer, but he can move a little bit better. That's what I saw from him. We'll see what he can do against the bigs, but I really like Jones a lot. I think that kid could play. He's got springs. He looks like he's aggressive. He reminds me of a similar player on the team, Salmon. I think he's the same way, Kelvin. And Otis Frazier, I think he's going to be that X factor in given games. He looks like he's finally healthy. He did a little spin move, dunking the ball. He looks really athletic. I think he's going to be that good defender, guy off the bench that can really provide some things. And last thing on Jones, I think he hit like 3 threes tonight and looked like a nice shot. So overall, I like the team. Very exciting. 75 shots, I think, this game. So putting up a lot of volume, I thought it was pretty nice overall.
Yeah, I'm good with it too. And hey, I appreciate it, Drew. Thanks for the phone call. And I encourage you to give us a call throughout the season, Drew. Great stuff, man. I thought your assessment was really spot on. Your assessment on David Terrell is pretty much how I felt about him. Elijah Jones, Calvin Solomon, you bring up a good point, because think about last year, guys. Solomon, whenever he'd hit the bench, he didn't have a backup. No one was really somebody who could come on the floor and give you those Solomon minutes without a massive drop off. And I'm going to just say names. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. I was out on Jamari Sibley before the season started last year, and Elijah Jones is such a better upgrade over Jamari Sibley. And I thought the entire Jamari Sibley experience was banked on the upside. And hey, what could he be? He could be that finesse shooter. He could be that mid-range jump shooter that the Miners need. He could be the guy to hit shots on the perimeter. He could be the wing that UTEP needs and somebody who can guard perimeter players. But he never was. And now UTEP has somebody who can at least give you something. Elijah Jones, giving you a lot of energy, giving you scoring, 8 of 8 from the floor. I think at that position, UTEP had a major upgrade. And maybe that's one of the major spots they needed. They just needed front court depth, and having a healthy Dos Anjos, healthy Otis Frazier for the duration of the season, maybe that's a good recipe to put alongside Calvin Solomon to really unleash him to be more efficient this season.
It's all about owning your role, and looking at Sibley's tenure with the Miners, you mentioned it. We saw the upside, we saw the potential, but just never really saw him kind of plant his feet and say, this is what I'm going to do out there. You kind of got mixed signals here and there. Just doesn't look like he ever really got comfortable with the playing time out there. You've seen him just do a number of things that kind of made you question, like, hey, how long have you been here? Team's expecting more. It just didn't really work out there. But judging off of what we saw today, the very small sample size, you saw some owning. Now, as the competition increases, let's see if they can maintain that same level of owning their role. If they could do that, I think the chemistry on offense, I think defensively they're going to be solid. You're going to get that out of a Golden team. But offense, you got to be able to match what the other team does, and you got to put the ball in the hoop to score. If you don't do that, it's going to be hard to keep up with some of the top tier teams in Conference USA, and really spread yourself from the middle ranks where people kind of see UTEP entering this year. People say they'd be lucky to reach that, but if they can move the ball in offense and get the ball in the hoop, should be something good to see. If guys own their role, I think they could, have a bit more success.
Yeah, be a little bit more selfless. Kind of goes back to Mike's call from earlier. It's playing that selfless style of basketball. Hey, let's do this. Let's take a timeout right now. When we come back, George is on deck. If you'd like to weigh in, our telephone number is 915-505-6009. We got phone lines available. If you'd like to weigh in, now is the time to do it. 915-505-6009 to talk UTEP men's basketball or women's basketball for that matter. If you want to talk a little bit about Keith Adams' debut in her first game, we could do it as well. Miner Talk continues, presented by the Oscar Arieta Agency. More in a moment right here on 600 ESPN El Paso.
You've outdone yourself with these tailgate supplies.
Thanks. By the way, you won't believe how all this is affordable.
Really? How?
Fantastic deal on a spacious mobile home from New Start Homes. So much better than paying a mortgage with all the high property taxes.
A new mobile home? But my credit, and I've rented all my life.
New Start Homes has options for everyone, regardless of credit history.
Kick off the season with New Start Homes. No credit, no worries. From Texas to New Mexico, it's time to score with New Start Homes. Visit them at newstarthomes.net.
While El Paso is finally out of the triple digits, escape the El Paso heat and get back to cool with Master Cool. Wind Supply El Paso is an official distributor of Master Cool evaporative coolers. They don't want you to sweat it out while you wait for the temperature outside to cool off. Each system is priced lower than the box stores, and Master Cool can defy the Sun City heat. To locate your nearest Master Cool dealer, visit the Find a Dealer tab at windsupplyelpaso.com. That's the Find a Dealer tab at windsupplyelpaso.com. It's the fourth quarter and the clock is winding down. Who are you trusting to win your team the championship?
In football, teams trust coaches and captains to guide them on the field. Off the field, put your trust in the Oscar Arieta Agency to guide you through the best insurance bundles for your needs.
Contact our friendly staff about putting together a customized auto, home, and life proposal for you today.
Team up with the Oscar Arieta Agency today. Visit OscarArietaAgency.com or call them at 915-400-6000. Hey sports fans, looking for your game day sanctuary? The District Pub and Kitchen is perfect for sports fans. Sip on your favorite beers, savor delicious bites, and cheer on your team in style at the District. 3 locations open daily at Airway, Central Off Piedras, and west by the University and Off Mesa. Get in the game with NFL packed screens, legendary drinks, and MVP-worthy bites. See daily food and drink specials on Facebook and Instagram at The District, and catch every play at The District Pub and Kitchen, your ultimate football hangout.
While El Paso is finally out of the triple digits, escape the El Paso heat and get back to cool with Master Cool. Wind Supply El Paso is an official distributor of Master Cool evaporative coolers. They don't want you to sweat it out while you wait for the temperature outside to cool off. Each system is priced lower than the box stores, and Master Cool can defy the Sun City heat. To locate your nearest Master Cool dealer, visit the Find a Dealer tab at windsupplyelpaso.com. That's the Find a Dealer tab at windsupplyelpaso.com.
River Oaks Properties was founded in 1959 and is El Paso's largest shopping center developer. Their locations include the rapidly growing, highly trafficked Zaragoza Road and East Lake Boulevard in Far East El Paso. In addition, River Oaks has recently completed Westtown Marketplace, El Paso's newest outdoor shopping destination. Their portfolio consists of nearly 200 properties in the Sun City. For leasing opportunities, call River Oaks Properties at 915-225-5700 or visit ropelpaso.com.
600 ESPN El Paso.
All right, welcome back. Miner Talk continues. We're presented by the Oscar Arieta Agency. Sal Montes with us, co-host in the show. We've got Zay Galindo. We also have Alberto Urreta, who was there for the doubleheader as well. UTEP women's basketball, UTEP men's basketball. Alberto, you give us the thoughts. Keitha Adams, her debut today, Western New Mexico, 75-58 was the final for the women's basketball team. Give me your thoughts before we get over to George and get his thoughts on the men's basketball game.
I like what I saw on both teams, not just the women's, but the women's one was a lot of fun. I think that's for the one where I was like the most worried. Just like, you lose your head coach, you lose a lot of your starting people. You lose Josiah Jackson, you lose I'm blanking on the name, but it was looking like a rough season. So to see everyone come out firing on all cylinders, it was a lot of fun. I just wish there was a couple more people in the stands. It was really dry when that game started. It was probably like 15 people there altogether. So,
hey, I understand. I mean, hey, it's 4:00. It's a Monday.
Start,
yeah, and I get it. I mean, I do think that they will have a better crowd for the rest of the season. I believe more people will support Keitha Adams and her squad. Give me your thoughts on the men's team.
I liked what I saw on the men's team. I wasn't as worried. I really have a lot of confidence in Joe Golding. I think he's one of the better coaches here at UTEP right now. We're really lucky to have him. I really appreciate him. So I wasn't really worried. We were talking back here, me and Sal, we were talking about Elijah Jones. We really liked what we saw there. I was just talking about how I was surprised to see Garrett get minutes until he got hurt. He hurt his ankle or something, but
Yeah, good point. Garrett Levesque, he is the Coronado graduate. He did get a chance to play tonight. Played a little bit of the 5, which was interesting, like 4 and 5 combo between those two. Joe Golding alluded to the fact that we could see both walk-ons, both Garrett Levesque and Sebastian Cole this year. Sebastian Cole coming from Otero County College, also Aurora, Colorado. But Sebastian Cole, more of a point guard, brings finesse, brings that kind of style. Meanwhile, Garrett Levesque is going to be that stretch guy, going to be that sizable forward. Good job, Alberto. I appreciate it. Zay, give me any cleanup there on the women's basketball side of things. What did you see from Keith the squad?
Yeah, at times it was a little undisciplined. I think that the struggles that they had, they can all be fixed. That's a good thing because it wasn't like, glaring weaknesses. Obviously, this team, nobody has played under Keith Adams before, right? Today, Jana Sinde, she did not play. She was out. And they were without, one of their freshman bigs who, Keith had talked about postgame. Her country, their Olympic team actually called her to go into their camp for 2 weeks, and so they had to steal her for 2 weeks. They're without her to start this season, and so they're a little shorthanded, especially for their bigs. So I'm going to give them time. Obviously, Friday they have a big game against a Division I opponent, Kansas City, who, they're going to be much improved. So, they're coming to the Dawn. That's really when you get to evaluate how this team actually looks. I think I like how most of the newcomers looked. Del Mazita, she played really good from that point guard position. You just want to see her get to the rim a little more. She's really quick, and she was really pass first, really passive. She didn't want to get her own buckets. She looks like a player who can get buckets. So I'm really excited for this team, and not much to take away from this one.
Okay, Mari Petrie, 16 points. Vidrova with 13. Thoughts on those two?
Yeah, Vidrova, she's a freshman. She's a freshman big, and she played great. So, we'll see if she can get consistent minutes throughout the season. She's kind of in that David Terrell role, Okay. Are you going to see a true freshman get long minutes this year? And she's a player with national experience playing for her country. So I'm really excited to see if she's able to stick with this team throughout.
Okay, good stuff. Let's go back to the phone lines right now. Let's welcome on George. George, good evening. What's happening, man?
Well, I was there early to catch the girls.
Nice. You were one of the 15 then.
Yeah, I was one of the 15 that was there. I was very pleasantly. It was a pleasant treat to catch both squads. That I think they look phenomenal. I do agree that Petrie. She did look much improved from last year. So did Wilson. I saw her. She was out there. Adele Tack. You can't say enough about her. She was inside making her presence known. And, they need to clean up some stuff. And, going up against Kansas City, they're going to get tested. But all in all, I had a lot of positive things that I saw out there. Keitha keeping up the intensity with her players. And then nothing but great things to say about the men's squad. I mean, a lot of shooting, a lot more shooting, not too much second guessing on the shots that were going up. A lot of selflessness that was going on. Jay Hardy, that amazing assist that he had on the breakaway. It was just fun to watch. It was fun to see the guys playing and not necessarily being too worried about the outcome, but just having fun. I know McMurry State, is not that quality opponent, but still, you had a lot of positive things happening on the court, and I think that's something to get excited about. I mean, these kids have not played together. Well, most of them are basically new to the squad, but for the ones that have been there, you saw the senior leadership, you saw them taking up the shots, and they just look good. They look very well gelled. The defense looked good, like any well-coached Golden team. And I'm excited to what the future holds for both of the squads. I mean, because I love either men's and women. I cheer for the both.
George, it's different to hear you sound so positive about talking UTEP athletics. I mean, we've heard it's been like a streak, man. I think we got up to like 12 or so of just some negative calls, and so now we've got a positive George with us here on a Monday evening. That's positivity for me, at least.
Yeah, and the one thing that I want to see, I want to see the team continue the positive vibes that they have with each other, the selfishness, the unselfishness, that goes a long way. I mean, and when you're lifting up your teammate and you're not padding your stats and you're helping the team out, I think it's a positive for everyone around you. It just elevates everybody's game. I think that's a great thing that I can take out of this game. I know it's McMurray State once again. But either way, I mean, if they can play this way throughout the season, then we're in for a really, really good treat. And hopefully UC Santa Barbara can come in here and they can go up against them with a chip on the shoulder and, have something to prove because, they're going to have something to prove.
Yeah, that's right. And I kind of like this new culture, this new personality that they've been, having over the last year or so. And I think that's a testament to this coaching staff. So good job, George. I really appreciate your phone call, man. Thanks for always weighing in and always supporting us here on this show. So you talked about supporting both teams. Thanks for supporting us here on this show. Hey, Sal, your thoughts on that call right there?
Yeah, definitely a different sentiment. I don't know what's been going on. I wonder if somebody hijacked his thoughts and made him say those positive things. No, I'm joking, man. It feels good, to do a Miner Talk after a win and after a very, very brutal year that's been the football season. To get some form of success is going to be good. But he's right though. They showed some flashes of what they can be. If they could do this against teams like Santa Barbara, going down the road in conference play, especially the Aggies, but
yes.
Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, the teams that they're going to be playing who are kind of the same level, if not just a bit higher. If they could do what they did tonight, in flashes, I think there's, some positivity that can be continued to be spread for sure.
Hey, let's go to social. Let's read some tweets. Then we're going to burn another timeout. We'll come back with the awards and we'll wrap things up unless anybody wants to call in with late phone calls. 915-505-6009, our telephone number. King Eric, what is there to say about the first game against a Division III school? Nothing really. I do think that the new faces of this team, are going to give this team the spark they needed last season, especially Elijah Jones. Boy's a baller. Good stuff, King Eric. Great to hear from you, my friend. Jonathan Byers, I'll be watching all season long, not just conference play. I'll be watching and evaluating every chance I get. No matter what, I give every player on this team a fair chance to prove themselves. That's why I was smiling.
You better prove yourself right against Jonathan Byers, guys, or else.
Tristan Pence, number 1. UTEP will be very improved this season. The guards are bigger and more physical than last year. The offensive struggles from last year won't be an issue this year. The Miners will set a record this year for forced turnovers. Number 2, Elijah Jones and David Terrell looked really solid for first-year players. Zid Powell looks really good. The only concern I have is turnovers at this point. We will know how much more about this team a week from tonight. This team has a great deal of potential. #MinerTalk. Manny David, I like the new Adidas home white uniforms much better than those old Nike uniforms. #MinerTalk. Go Miners. I got to first ask Alberto here. Alberto, you go first. You got to give me the uniform. Then we're gonna go to Zay, who's dying. He's like he can't contain himself in his seat right now. Alberto, are you a fan of the Adidas home white men's basketball unis?
Yeah, I like the look. It's really nice, the white on white, and then they have the nameplate. The nameplate sitting on the back of the name looks weird because it's not the same material that's like on there. It's like this. The material of the jersey is like a mesh, and then like the nameplate is like not mesh. So like when you sit close enough, you can tell, and it's weird. But I love the look. I love the jersey. Unfortunately, none of us are ever going to own it. It'll never be in our closet. You won't be able to buy it, even if it were $350.
Okay, good point. There you go. So good point. You can't purchase this one.
Yeah,
good point.
Hopefully soon, though.
Okay, shoes. Are you okay with the shoes?
Yeah, I like the shoes. I mean, they get to pick. I'm not gonna knock on their shoe game. I think they're doing what they got.
Okay, I gotta lean on you for this kind of stuff, Alberto, and I gotta lean on Zay, who's dying on this one. But let's send it back to Sal. Sal, maybe he's the voice of reason on this conversation. Sal, uniform choice, white Adidas, photos, videos that you saw, in or out early on, men's basketball unis.
I'm still trying to find some, man.
Okay, I'm going to try to get a picture for you.
Yeah, because I found some like in warm-ups, but they're wearing the shirt over.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't really
count,
right? Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, Zay, unload. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm gonna start with the shoes. I mean, there was two. They had two pairs. Everybody had. It was either you had one pair that looked like knockoff Jordan 12s or something. They look like foam posits. That's what they look like, the Nike foam posits. And then the other ones, they just look like like a dad's running shoe, Adidas. Like they did not look like.
You didn't say your
shoes.
dad's running shoes there. You were careful.
So I'm not a fan of the shoes. I think. Where's the Dame Dollar? I mean, those are pretty nice. Those are nice shoes. Why can't they have those? And then you get to the jerseys. I mean, there's just so much wrong with it. You look at the shorts. Why they have two pickaxe on the side. Why is there two? Why isn't there only one? Why is there's just so much going on. It's just hurting my eyes. It's hurting my how can white jerseys hurt my eyes? I don't get it.
Oh man, I love this because we're so positive on jerseys over the years. If you listen to MinerTalk over the years, we're so positive, and I love this. I love Sal, voice of reason. Where are we at right now with these jerseys?
I found one. This is the only picture in full that I've been able to find, and it's Solomon dunking. I think UTEP tweeted it out.
Yes,
I just refreshed my page, and you know how that works. But oh man, the angle makes it look good. I'll say that. However, judging off of the photos that we've seen in preseason, like in live action from that angle, okay. But no, man, what is wrong with that collar? I've never met anybody with like a diamond-shaped neck. Here we go. Thank you, Alberto, for showing it. The video promos, they look really nice, but it's hard.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The collar. Oh, I see the collar. I think people would look at this one. If you were a fan of the UTEP uniforms in the 90s, you might like these by just not looking that closely to them. For me personally, I enjoy the pick, but I need a little Pater Pete on the jersey. But even regardless of that, I'm a big font guy, and I look at the font. The orange is a little displaced on this white one right here, so I'm out on the white ones. I've seen all of them. I'm a fan of the blue, I'm a fan of the orange ones a little bit more. The shoes, guys, oh man. I want to ask some of these players. I got to ask them, guys, how is it? Because these guys aren't hooping in Adidas when they're back home and stuff like that. You know that. You just go to gyms and everybody's wearing the latest Nikes or even some old Nikes that they've had before. Point is, I'm just very interested to hear the responses from the players themselves. Any more thoughts? Any final thoughts on these uniforms before we move on this discussion? Manny David loved them. He said he liked the Adidas home white uniforms. We're gonna have to put a poll question after this, lasts a week or so, and then we'll get from the fans if people like it or not. Maybe this is an age thing. Maybe we have like a little bit of a gap here, and maybe we're on the other side of this. What do you think?
Are we
Sal?
the get off my lawn guys now?
We might be the get off my lawn guys. Oh man. Next up, Rod Munch. They didn't even give out athletic scholarships at McMurry, an abomination that UTEP schedules a team like that. Oh, man. Corey Camper, this is from Robert Urquidi, good friend of us, our program. Corey Camper plays very smooth offensively. He'll be fun to watch. I agree with you, man. He will be fun to watch. I'm really looking forward to seeing him for the rest of the season. He's definitely among those players I'm watching for the rest of the season. Let's do this. Let's take a timeout, guys. When we come back, let's hand out some awards and start wrapping this one up. If you have a late call, now is the time to send it our way. 915-505-6009. UTEP defeats McMurry tonight. Wait a second, I'm looking at the stats now. They're adding more points. They're putting 126-71. They're adding more points, so I got to check my original one. 120-71. That's the final. Miners get the victory tonight over McMurry. We'll be back right after this, presented by the Oscar Arrieta Agency. More in a moment, right here on 600 ESPN El Paso.
90 degrees? Bring it. 100-degree temperatures? Bring it. No matter how extreme the temperature gets, you can stay cool and comfortable with Champion Momentum Premium Residential Systems. Every Champion unit is designed, engineered, and assembled in the United States. Visit the Find a Dealer tab to locate your nearest local Champion dealer at WindSupplyElPaso.com and learn how you can significantly reduce your energy costs. Wind Supply El Paso is a proud supporter of UTEP athletics. Go Miners!
River Oaks Properties was founded in 1959 and is El Paso's largest shopping center developer. Their locations include the rapidly growing, highly trafficked Zaragoza Road and East Lake Boulevard in Far East El Paso. In addition, River Oaks has recently completed Westtown Marketplace, El Paso's newest outdoor shopping destination. Their portfolio consists of nearly 200 properties in the Sun City. For leasing opportunities, call River Oaks Properties at 915-225-5700 or visit roplpaso.com.
It's the fourth quarter and the clock is winding down. Who are you trusting to win your team the championship?
In football, teams trust coaches and captains to guide them on the field. Off the field, put your trust in the Oscar Arieta Agency to guide you through the best insurance bundles for your needs.
Contact our friendly staff about putting together a customized auto, home, and life proposal for you today.
Team up with the Oscar Arieta Agency today. Visit OscarArietaAgency.com or call them at 915-400-6000.
Your home office setup is amazing. How did you pull it off?
Thanks. I actually bought a tiny home from New Start Homes. It's transformed my work-life balance.
A tiny home? But how can you fit all your things inside?
Tiny home is just a name. New Start Homes was able to customize this space to exactly what I needed. A kitchen, my own bedroom, and even this living space.
Elevate your remote work experience with New Start Homes. From just $75 per square foot, they redefine the way you work and live. From El Paso to Las Cruces, discover the difference with New Start Homes online at newstarthomes.net.
Hey sports fans, looking for your game day sanctuary? The District Pub and Kitchen is perfect for sports fans. Sip on your favorite beers, savor delicious bites, and cheer on your team in style at the District. 3 locations open daily at Airway, Central Off Piedras, and West by the University and Off Mesa. Get in the game with NFL packed screens, legendary drinks, and MVP-worthy bites. See daily food and drink specials on Facebook and Instagram at The District and catch every play at The District Pub and Kitchen, your ultimate football hangout.
Howdy, Lauren Hodges of Longhorn Distributing, proud supporters of UTEP football and Coach Dana Demmel. As we begin our 30th year of supplying top-of-the-line detail products, we invite you to our store at 5516 East Paisano in the middle of El Paso. Longhorn Distributing is also the only distributor of hot seat pressure washers in West Texas and southern New Mexico. Both hot and cold and trailer-mounted pressure washers, plus a factory-trained service department to back it up. Drop on by at Longhorn Distributing.
600 ESPN El Paso.
All right, final segment here of Miner Talk. We're presented by the Oscar Arieta Agency. Special thanks for Alberto Reta, Zay Galindo, Sal Montes for showing up and showing out today. First edition of the Men's Basketball Miner Talk edition. Been a lot of fun talking some UTEP hoops today. And just for a change, had a lot of chances to talk UTEP football this entire season and shifting things around to talk men's basketball. Sal, this reminds me of 2019 when there was a lot of hype. I know you're taking a call. A lot of hype around the football team. They don't have success. And then basketball comes in and saves the day, and everybody's distracted by the basketball team. And then you kind of just look over to the offseason for football, and that's kind of how it goes. But nonetheless, here we go. Basketball season underway. They play the Science and Arts Center on Thursday, or Oklahoma's Arts and Science University or whatever on Thursday. I'm not going to say the right name. I refuse to say the right name of that college on Thursday. I'll be out there. We won't have Miner Talk, but we'll have Miner Talk live at the District coming up next Monday out against UC Santa Barbara. So be on the lookout for that. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off, by the way. All of them are 7 o'clock tip-offs. And then we've got a ton of UTEP basketball coverage for the rest of the season. Augustine is joining us. I know he watched the entire game, and he knows all these players very well. Augustine, good evening, man. What's happening?
Hey, Adrian, I don't know any of those players, but anyway, positive UTEP won. Positive UTEP beat a team they're supposed to beat. Negative 71 points given up to a Division III school. Let's be honest about that. And I know some people are saying, oh, well, they were blowing them out and this and that. But, it's these kind of games that get you ready for the next one. So that's
these kind of games that get you ready for the next one. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, these games are the ones that, that they don't matter until something bad happens. And I think that the 71 points isn't as bad, but we have to think about what Joe Golding is going to do defensive-wise to, to kind of fix that, because 71 points given up by the Miners to a Division III school is not a positive. It really isn't. I mean, everybody's all positive in that, but it's something to worry about, because another Division I school, what are they going to do? What's going to happen? So that's my take, and it just, that's the only worrisome part.
I hear you, and I know. I mean, look, you want to point. There's a lot of things you could point out: the 71 points, the turnovers, whatever. But it's against the Division I school. And Augustine, if you watch this one, if you watch the newcomers, and if you tuned in or anything, you would have seen that pretty much by the midway point of the second half, they weren't really trying as much on defense. And yeah, to some, you try on every possession, sure, but this is a different game. This is Division I or Division III university. Let's talk next Monday. If those issues are still there, if they're allowing over 80 points to UC Santa Barbara next week and they lose and it's a loss for them, then maybe we can reflect back on tonight's defensive lapses. But I'm not worried whatsoever. Not worried in game one against a Division I school or Division III school. And hey, by the way, guys, if they lose next Monday to UC Santa Barbara, not panicking whatsoever. I mean, it's a long season, and obviously it's all about how you perform in conference play. It's not about anything else in this league, and that's how Conference USA is built. It's a one-bid league. You got to win your conference. Nothing else matters. Absolutely nothing matters other than winning in conference play, especially non-conference. Doesn't matter either. Hey, let's give out some awards here on the program, and let's start wrapping it up with some final thoughts. Before we do that, let's whip around to college basketball. Colorado State defeated La Tech today. Sam Houston defeated Pacific. Out of Conference USA, number 16 Kentucky defeated New Mexico State, although the Aggies went into the half down just 8 points. UCF beat Florida International 85-62. Any other games, guys, that catch your attention? Mid-major, Power 5 ranks, any other games college basketball-wise that stand out to you?
There were a few. The James Madison one beating Michigan State. I mean, I look at everything, Abilene Christian beating Oklahoma State.
That's a big one. UTEP plays ACU this year in the WAC Challenge. That's a big one right there for sure. They play them in December.
And, I'm thinking now, these bye games for big colleges and for teams like UTEP, when you're welcoming, when you have bye games yourself, these teams aren't scared. They're not scared to go into a Power 5 arena and go out there and hoop now. You have guys who have been at that level before on these teams, and they're not intimidated at all. So I just want to see. I'm excited to see how UTEP performs against Oregon. I don't want to give fans hope and say UTEP's going to beat Oregon, because it probably won't happen. But I just want to see how different this landscape is. Mid-majors going out there beating Power 5 teams. It happens so much more. It's a level playing field with NIL and transfer portal.
Sal, what if I told you Max Amos, Zarek Onyema, Tyrese Hunter, and Dylan Mitchell would all be playing on the Texas Longhorns for Rodney Terry 3 years ago?
Oh man, I would have been like, you mean did the Miners change their name to the Longhorns or something? That's probably something I would say. But man, I mean, if there's one thing about Terry is that he's gonna gather that talent. We saw him gather talent here at UTEP. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But when you go to the Longhorns and you have a significantly larger amount of resources plus your pedigree and recruiting, and you're the Texas Longhorns, at the end of the day, it's a cheat code in that respect. But I mean, hey, give him credit. He was able to have them do a deep run. We'll see what they could do this year.
Against Incarnate Word, Zarek Onyema, 18 minutes, 4 of 7 from the floor, 7 total rebounds, 2 blocks, 11 points. So scores in double figures in his first game as a Longhorn. As we start winding things down, guys, let's go out to our awards. Let's go to our hot hand of the game. This is presented by Wind Supply El Paso. Check them out online, windsupplyelpaso.com, for more information about Wind Supply El Paso. Hot hand from this one, I think it's pretty easy. Elijah Jones, after scoring 8 for 8 from the floor. He contributed substantially and significantly for this group, totaling 19 points again on 8 of 8 shooting, and a big one tonight for Elijah Jones, coming up big for the Miners in this one. By the way, 8 guys in double figures. It's hard to pick a hot hand, but he stood out among everybody else here tonight. Guys, any final thoughts? Let's start off with you, Alberto, as you look for the Miners the rest of this week, both on the men's side and the women's side. What do you want to see for them ahead of the next game going into this week and next week for both programs, men's basketball and women's basketball?
Well, for women's basketball, I think just get healthy. I think one of their better players wasn't available today, so we'll see how her return affects the team in coming weeks. And for the men's team, just to keep it brief, is just hard-fought games to the end, the entire game. So I don't think we're asking for much, just some good hard-fought basketball until the end.
Got you. Zay, UTEP women's basketball takes on Kansas City Saturday. Give me your early thoughts on that one. That's a big one. Ruse coming into town against the Miners.
Yeah, that is a good one. Like I talked about, just clean up the things that you need to clean up and take care of business. Like I said, Kansas City, they're a pretty good team. They gave UTEP some trouble on the road last year, nothing too crazy. So, they're going to come into the Dawn. They're gonna look to upset the Miners, and UTEP just has to stay focused, fix the little things, and I think they can pull this one out.
Sal, we wind things up with the men's basketball team. USAO, the Drovers, coming to town Thursday evening, Don Haskins Center. This is University Science Arts Organization basketball circuit.
Yeah.
How many players are they bringing? Are they bringing any canvases? All right, bad jokes. Bad jokes are
the
over.
Arts and
We're
Craft
done.
University, is that what you were going to say?
Arts and Crafts University coming into town Thursday.
I'm sorry, guys.
What if they win and then we play this all back? All of this is just poster material and everything to them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that their head coach is tuned into MinerTalk right now.
Yeah, I'm also pretty sure UTEP's going to win on Thursday. And I'm just circling Monday. I'm UC Santa Barbara. CBS Sports Network will have it 7 o'clock tip-off. I'm fired up about it. Don Haskins Center will have it as well. That's next Monday.
Yeah, I think for the Thursday game against USAO, did I say that right?
I think you did.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh. All right, there we go. Yeah, number one fan here. No, with those guys or against those guys, the only thing I could say is similar to this game, get out of there healthy, get some run, look fluid on offense, play defense for a large stretch. But number one, Adrian, get that run out and stay healthy. Do not get out of that game with any injuries whatsoever, because Santa Barbara on Monday is going to be a big, big test. You want to be as loose as possible going into that game.
Our broadcast is brought to you each and every night by the Oscar Arieta Agency. For Alberto Reta, for Zay Galindo, for Sal Montes, I'm Adrian Broadus. We're wrapping it up here tonight talking UTEP hoops. We'll be back in action later in the week right here on 600 ESPN El Paso.
You've been listening to MinerTalk, presented by the Oscar Arieta Agency. If you missed any of MinerTalk, listen to the show on demand by downloading MinerTalk wherever you get your podcasts. Streaming worldwide through the 600 ESPN El Paso mobile app. 600 ESPN El Paso is KROD El Paso, a Town Square media station.